All right. Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is We Are Complete in Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Kodash. And pretty much this was part of the lesson that I was going to do yesterday, but I'm glad I held off because, there's a lot to this lesson. And, I have some precepts, and I'm pretty sure brothers can build upon this topic because this is a vast topic. And this is our hope. Now what you're looking at in front of you is a picture or a depiction of what Yahawashi would look like, when he was on the earth. Not saying that this is him. This is just an illustration based off of the scriptures of what he would look like. Because this is Idris Elba. Idris Elba is not the Messiah, but he does have that royal look, and this is why brothers use him, for these different paintings, But nevertheless, in Yahawashi, we are complete because that is our hope, and he's the reason why we're here. He's the reason why we exist, under the orders of Yahweh. So that's why we say Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. And this is the reason why we even have a chance to do anything. And in him we are complete because you got to remember that he is the fullness of everything. And in being the fullness of everything, everything was given unto him and everything was put under his feet. So the Most High is given this kingdom that's coming to Yahawashi, and he equipped him with everything that he needed. The only thing that's exempted from Yahawashi is the subjugation of the Most High, because the Most High created him, so the Most High is not going to subjugate himself under him. But everything else is under Yahawashi. That's why I say the scriptures say that every knee shall bow, when Yahawashi returns back, because that'll be the beginning of his kingdom. So I have some precepts here, and like I said, I'm pretty sure if brothers want to, they can do other lessons based off of this, that they can expound on other precepts, to even go further into it. So we're going to start off with Isaiah 59, and we're going to start at the 15th verse. It says, Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And we see that happening today. If you depart from evil, we make ourselves a prey, because this society does not prey upon the wicked. They prey upon those that are trying to live righteously in a wicked society. Because at the end of the day, we're imperfect creatures in an imperfect world, in these imperfect bodies, striving for perfection. It says, and the Lord saw it. So Yahweh saw this, and it displeased him that there was no judgment, because there was no judgment on this earth at one time, because the truth had been hidden. It says, and he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. And this is where Yahawashi comes into play, being the intercessor or the go-between, which the word intercessor goes to the Hebrew word pagai, which means to encounter, meet, reach, entreat, make intercession. So when you're entreating someone, you're trying to say things or do things to be pleasing in their sight. All right? To make an intercession. Now let's look up this word intercession. Let's see where it brings us. The action of intervening on behalf of another. So Yahawashi is our lawyer. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Fall upon, encounter, entreat. So pretty much an intercessor is a lawyer, a go-between. So Yahawashi went between Yahweh and us. So he is our lawyer, he is our attorney, and he brought back favor between Yahweh and us. Therefore his arm brought salvation unto him. So who is the arm of the Most High? Yahawashi, because he sits on his right hand side. So Yahawashi brought salvation, and this is why he came 2,000 years ago to suffer that sacrifice that he suffered in order to bring us back to the Father. And his righteousness, it sustained him, because that's what kept Yahawashi going, was his righteousness, and the hope that was set before him, that if he went through that whole thing, he would be given a kingdom, plus he would be given us, to be joint rulers with him. All right. So, you brothers could read the rest of that if you want. Well, you should read it. Isaiah. Let's move on to the next scripture, Isaiah 53. We'll try to move through these a little quick. Isaiah 53 and 10. Yet it pleased the Lord Yahweh to bruise him. So when Yahawashi came on the scene, he came as a lamb without blemish, without spot. For what? To be that sacrificial lamb. As in the Latin, Agnus Deus, which is the Lamb of God. So he came down to be the Lamb of the Most High. And it pleased the Most High to bruise him. So when he was getting spat upon and beaten, and spikes running through him, and being beat, crown of thorns put on his head, that pleased the Lord, because that was the beginning of what the scriptures call the expiation, or a cleansing, of our sins. Just like when you would shed the blood of animals, that's where the amendment or forgiveness came from. It says, he hath put him to grief when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin. So Yahawashi became that offering for sin. That's why as Isaac, when he was about to be sacrificed, what did Isaac ask his father before Abraham put him, up on the altar? He said, Father, where is the lamb? See, he asked for a lamb. And the father said, don't worry, the Lord will provide it. And then when he was about to sacrifice it and the Lord held him back, what happened? The Lord had Abraham find a ram that was caught in a thicket. So it wasn't a lamb that they actually found to sacrifice, because that was symbolic for later on that Isaac would come back as Yahawashi to be sacrificed as an offering for sin. He shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and he saw the travail of his soul. Remember when Yahawashi was in the garden, sweating blood, being, nervous because of this great trial, hour of temptation that he had to go through. The Most High seen all of that, and shall be satisfied, because that when the sacrifice was complete, that's what appeased the Most High's anger and his wrath towards us. Just like when we go back into the history of Phinehas, when you had that one particular Israelite that was popping that Moabite or Midianite woman, and they were doing it because they were worshiping the God of those nations. So they would it was like a ritual cult, sexual thing. And this is why Phinehas, because there was a great, there was, things going on, that the people were not at ease. So when that happened, Phinehas took a javelin, I believe it was a javelin, and ran it through the back of the man and through the stomach of the woman, because he was popping her at the time. And what did that do? It said that appeased the anger of the Lord. So when Yahawashi gave up his body to be sacrificed, that appeased the anger of the Most High towards us and brought in everlasting peace, and forgiveness. It says, by his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. And this is what he did when he spoke the truth. For he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. And that's how he made that intercession. This is why when he gave up the spirit, there was a great earthquake and the veil in the temple rent, because no longer was that physical sacrifice needed, because the ultimate sacrifice, which was Yahawashi's body, was already committed, and that brought in everlasting peace. All right, the word for intercession, same word, pagai. All right, so now let's move on from there to the book of Isaiah, same book, Isaiah 51, and let's start at the 12th verse. Isaiah 51 and 12. I, even I, am he that comforteth you, which is the Most High. Who art thou? That thou, and ultimately it's Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi, because Yahawashi is the word. that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the Son of Man which shall be made as grass, and forgettest the Lord thy Maker that hath stretched forth the heavens. Because ultimately, in every captivity that we've been in, you had kings and captains and rulers and the people that came against us to destroy us. But really, who sent them? The Most High did. So really, why should we be afraid of them when it's the Lord that's sending them? This is pretty much what we're reading here. And laid the foundations of the earth, and has feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor. And it's a continual stroke that these devils are bringing out. Because today we're under the rulership of the Edomites. It says as if he were ready to destroy, because he has no power to do anything except the Most High give it to him. Didn't Yahawashi tell that to Pontius Pilate? You can have no power at all. My Father gave me my life. It's in my hands to do with it as I will. You know, I can give it or I could take it back, because it was given to him of the Most High to do it. It says, and where is the fury of the oppressor? Because the fury of the oppressor is the fury of the Lord. And if he deemed that you had certain Israelites that would not be destroyed by this devil, guess what? There's not a goddamn thing in the world this devil can do to touch the elect. Because if it's not sanctioned by the Most High. It says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose. So we're the captive exiles. We're in captivity. We're exiled from our land. And we're hastening, hoping to quickly be loosed or delivered from this captivity. And that he should not die in the pit, because this is a pit. This system is a pit. You hear the Apostle Gabar from time to time tell you that the word system, or I believe it's SYS, sis, is pit. All right. It says not that his bread, nor that his bread should fail, because if we were left here, eventually we would perish. This is why the scriptures say that the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Because this is where this place is going. It's going the way of destruction. It's going the way of Sodom and Gomorrah. I was just looking for a picture of Yahawashi on Google, on the Google images, and I came across this this Israelite page, and I'm scrolling through there looking for the picture, and I see this woman speaking. And now, she's a fairly decent looking, woman, and they showed her modeling, and then I guess she took a picture like naked, but she had her arms covering her titties, looked like a woman. And as it was going on, I was like, then they showed pictures of her when she was little. I said, wait a minute. Then after I said, is that a boy? And then it said that my father has been there. I said, see this shit? So this is the way this place is going. And they're making it to where if you don't accept it, then it'll become a crime eventually. So this place got to go. So this is why Yahawashi had to come to loose us from this captivity that we're in and this oppression, because it's going to get worse. Now let's go from there to the book of Zechariah 9. But that just shows you the demonic, way of this world. Esau, man, pushing that transgender, transvestite, transformer spirit out there, man. And then people say, well, you should get a woman that has children. Well, this motherfucker's impregnating men. So how do you know that woman that you're with that had children, that it wasn't the tubes were rewired, and then the used to be a man, now they made it into a woman? How do you know that's not a man that was transformed into a woman and could have children? That's how fucked up this world is, man. Anyway, Zechariah 9:11. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein is no water. So through the blood of Yahawashi, which sealed the second covenant, we were let go as prisoners from this world, going back when he came 2,000 years ago. So now we're just waiting for him to come back. And this is why he has the full measure of everything. We are joint heirs with him, and he gives a portion to each individual prophet out there and teacher out there. So now let's go from there to the book of Galatians. Because remember, we were orphaned. The Most High turned his back on us. So what happened? The Lord pretty much kicked us out. So we became orphans. Galatians 4:1. Now I say that the heir, and we are heirs, joint heirs with Yahawashi, as long as he is a child, differeth nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all. Why? Because as being a child, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to conduct ourselves, how to, use the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and the things that were given to us in order to rule. But is under tutors and governors unto the time appointed of the Father. And we had been under that, under the tutelage of men until the time when the Father came. And back then, this was speaking about being under the law. Now, when Yahawashi came, the law is still in effect, but he took away that penalty, which is death. From when we do break the Lord has mercy on us through the blood of Yahawashi, but the law is still in effect. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. You have those that go to the extreme left and say that no, the law is done away with, them so-called Christians. And then you have those that go to the extreme right, them Old Testament Israelites that say, nope, the law is still in effect, 100%. You got to keep the law 100%, and it's impossible to keep the law 100%. Even so, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of the world. But when the fullness of the time was come, what fullness of the time? The time when the Most High was supposed to send Yahawashi to redeem back, reconcile back the purchased possession, which are the Israelites. All right, the Most High sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem or buy back them that were under the law. See, the Israelites, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Now, who is he speaking to here? He's speaking to the Galatians. So who are the Galatians? The Galatians are Israelites that were being called Galatians. And he incorporated himself and them in that to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because ye are sons, because he's addressing them, the Galatians, the Most High has sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. And this is why we cry, Abba, Father, because Yahawashi became the intercessor and became the go-between to adopt us back to the Most High. And the adoption was him shedding his blood on the cross to so that we can be brought back in union with our Father, Yahweh. It says, wherefore thou art no more servants, but a son. And if son, then an heir of the Most High through Yahawashi. So this is why Yahawashi is such an important aspect of this truth. He is the main centerpiece outside of the Most High. And that's why we can't go around saying Jesus and Christ. And if we do say those names, we have to say that the world ignorantly calls those names and then give the people the right and proper names, which is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, or Yahweh wa Yahawashi. You see, because at the end of the day, those are the names that are that pertain to our power and his Son. All right, so now let's go from there to Romans, the 8th chapter, and the Romans 8 and 13. It says, for if you live after the flesh, you shall die. But if you through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, you shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of the Most High, they are the sons of the Most High. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. So this is why we cry, Abba, Father. And this is why the Lord's Prayer, how does it start? The Our Father prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, Abba Nawa Shabbat Shemayim. All right. Now let's go from there, because that is a part of the redemption. That is a part of being brought back to the good graces of the Most High. Now let's go back to Galatians, the 4th chapter. And that's why as children, we're still in that state where we don't have the spiritual understanding still fully open until we come of full age. That's why the Lord said, whom shall he teach doctrine and who shall he make to understand? Who shall he teach doctrine and who shall he make to understand? Let me just get that real quick. Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Let me get that real quick. Isaiah 28:9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, because you no longer have to suck the titty. You come to the age where you can eat solid foods. And this is why the Apostle Paul said, I can't teach you as spiritual, but as carnal, because you're still babes in the Lord. All right. So Galatians 4:19 states, my little children, because they were children that were being brought up. They were actual grown men, but they were being brought up in the knowledge, but they were still sucking the titty. They were still sucking the milk, the breast milk of the scriptures, of whom I travail in birth again, because he was like a woman that was about to give birth, but the child wasn't ready to come out yet. So it takes a process of time. Then when the child is ready, then the child comes out. So it says, my little children, of whom I travail in birth again, until Yahawashi be formed in you. In other words, until Yahawashi takes root in each and every brother. This is why when we read in 1 John, the 2nd chapter, at first we're taught of men, but after a certain period of time, the Lord, starts to work with that individual, on a one-on-one. Case in point, Samuel, when he was a child, he really didn't understand the Lord until Eli told him, look, make sure when the Lord, calls you this time, just say, here am I, Lord. And that's because it says, I believe in the earlier in the verse, in the chapter, it says that Samuel didn't know the Most High yet. He didn't know the Lord yet. But then there came a point, okay, now it's time for him to learn. And this is what we're reading right here. So Yahawashi was formed in him at that point when the Father spoke to him. So he was ready to take on that, what's the word I'm looking for? They use it in the church all the time. That personal relationship with Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. And this is what the Apostle Paul was saying. Because now that Yahawashi is formed in us, now the Spirit can guide us and we don't have to be held by the hand. And we don't use that too loose, because you have guys out there that'll use that and say, well, yeah, the Lord showed me stuff too, but there'd be some bugged out madness, so we try not to, say that too loosely, because some individuals don't know how to take it. But nevertheless, it is a part of the doctrine, a part of the scripture, so we have to speak about it. So, my little children, of whom I travail in birth again, until Yahawashi be formed in you. Now let's go back to Romans, the 8th chapter. Matter of fact, let me look up this word formed. Let's see what it says for formed. Morpho, which is where you get the word morph. Morpho, to form. So Yahawashi being formed in us, meaning his spirit, his essence, transforms us and changes us into that new man. Now, therefore, guiding us by his spirit, no longer having to be led by the hand, like the Spirit is guiding us and telling us things and go here and say this, and So this is why the Apostle Paul said that. Now let's go from there back to the book of Romans, the 8th chapter. Let's go to the first verse. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Yahawashi HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. So Yahawashi makes the individual complete. He makes us complete. All right. Now let's go from there to Acts. Acts, the 13th chapter. And let's see, in the 36th verse. It says, for David, after he had served his own generation by the will of the Most High, fell on sleep, and was laid unto his fathers, and saw corruption. But he whom the Most High raised again saw no corruption. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man, Yahawashi, is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him, all that believe are justified from all things from which you could not be justified by the law of Moses, because it was impossible for us to be able to be justified in keeping the law. This is why the Lord had to make a second covenant. And this is why Yahawashi had to come on the scene. When we read Romans, the 9th chapter, Romans, the 8th chapter, the 9th chapter, the 10th chapter, it explains how the blood of animals couldn't make us perfect. So that's why the Lord prepared a body for Yahawashi to come to be able to finally fully redeem us from the law, because we couldn't be redeemed from the law. So Yahawashi is a buffer now for us, that we don't get put to death until we get to the point where we can get to the kingdom, our bodies be changed, our minds be changed, and the laws put into our inward parts, and therefore fulfilling the second covenant. See? So Yahawashi right now is that buffer that guides us. And each individual brother out there that the Spirit is dealing with, they make up a part of that body. And that part of the body is important in all aspects. No matter how great or how small, no matter how much information you received or how little, it's all a part of that body, and that body works as a synergy. And if this body breaks, and if one part breaks down, the rest of the body breaks down, because then other parts of the body have to take up the slack for that part that is lacking. And that's why all hands should be on deck. Whatever the Lord, or whatever gift the Lord gave us, we take it and run with it, because it is very important, no matter how small it may seem. You see? And remember, the Lord said that he bestows more abundant honor upon those parts that seem to be uncomely. All right? So, and by him, all that believe are justified from all things from which we could not be justified by the law of Moses. Now, let's go into the book of Ephesians, the first chapter. And I pray that that this lesson is edifying to brothers, and brothers are following along. Ephesians 1:6, to the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved. Because without Yahawashi, there is nothing. So now let's jump from there to the book of 1 Corinthians. And this is why there is an order in everything. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahawashi, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahawashi is the Most High. So the head of every man, Israelite man, is Yahawashi, the Messiah. All right? Why? Because he has the fullness. The body doesn't think for itself. The mind thinks, the head thinks, and the body functions, the body moves. The head gives the order to the body on what to do, how to react, how to do this, how to do that. It comes from the head. So Yahawashi being the head, he is the fullness. He has the whole portion. And he gives us each a portion of the full portion that he has. Therefore, making us complete in him. All right. Now let's go from there to Colossians, the first chapter. Colossians 1:1. Right? No, I'm sorry. Colossians 1:9. It says, for this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that you might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. And the key here is what? To be filled. There's a measure in this thing, and the measure is given to each individual. Remember, when we read the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter, which Lord's will, I got another lesson from a video I was watching Elder Apostle Tahar do, and I want to go into it, a particular precept he read in there. Lord's will, I go into it. If the Spirit hit me to do it a little later, then I will, however the Spirit wants. Isaiah 34:16, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read, which is the Bible. No one of these shall fail, meaning the prophecy shall not fail. None shall want her mate. You can't make this book with any other book or any other philosophy. For my mouth, the Most High's mouth, it hath commanded, and his Spirit it hath gathered them, because the angels are the ones that gather this knowledge from the Most High and give it to the men of the Lord. And he hath cast a lot for them. For who? For the prophets, the teachers. And his hand had divided unto them by line. So each individual prophet, each individual teacher gets a portion of the full portion. Like you have a cake or a pie. You have a full cake and a pie. You don't eat the whole cake and a pie, but you may have bought the cake and you cut the cake in pieces, or the pie in pieces, and you give into each individual a piece of that cake or of that pie. So Yahawashi is the full portion that's given out portions to the rest of the prophets and teachers. They shall possess it forever, from generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So going back to Colossians, it says, and to desire that you might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding, because each one has a portion. And all of those portions coming together make what? Make the whole. Together, combined together with the head, which is Yahawashi, that you might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work. And we're supposed to be fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of the Most High, because his knowledge is living waters, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power, because we are made complete in Yahawashi. And the closer we get to Yahawashi, the stronger we become, because their presence is among us. It says, unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. Why? Because Yahawashi gave the ultimate sacrifice, who hath delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. See? It says, in whom we have redemption, being able to be bought back through his blood, because that was the agreement. It says, even the forgiveness of sins. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. Because Yahawashi, has everything. He created everything, and everything we see was created by him through the blueprint that the Most High gave him. It says, and he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence, because he, at the end of it all, underneath the Most High, is the head, and he has everything. It says, for it pleased the Father that in him, in Yahawashi, shall all fullness dwell. So remember, he has the full package, and he gives us of that full package. The word fullness, pleroma, that which has been filled. See? So this is why he said, search the scriptures, for they would testify of me. It says, just bear with me 1 second. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water, because has the full amount, and he's constantly dispensing that full amount to all the men of the Lord. Like the Apostle Paul said, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. So each one of us has a certain amount of this knowledge that was committed to us, that we are responsible for. It says, a ship, inasmuch as it is filled, an example, manned with sailors, rowers, and soldiers. And in this case, you look at it as a body with the many different functions. In the New Testament, the body of believers, see, as that which is filled with the presence, power, agency, riches of the Most High and of Yahawashi, see? And that's this knowledge. And Yahawashi has the fullness, and he's dispensing, he's giving each individual what they need to be sustained. That which fills, or with which a thing is filled, of those things which a ship is filled, freight and merchandise, sailors, oarsmen, soldiers. So this thing has everything. It has the men power, it has the clothing, it has the minerals, it has the resources, it has the tools, it has the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, everything that's needed to complete the job. Completeness, see, or fullness of time. So this is the completeness. So let's go back to that. Let's read that again. For it pleased the Father that in him, in Yahawashi, all fullness dwell. So he has the fullness. So now let's go from there to the second chapter and the second verse, that their hearts might be comforted, being knit together in love, and unto all riches, or the full of the full assurance of understanding, to the acknowledgement of the mystery of the Most High, and of the Father, and of Yahawashi, in whom are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. So Yahawashi has all of the keys. That's why I said he has a key. He'll open the door and no one can shut. He'll shut the door, no one can open, because he has the fullness. He is the main gatekeeper for the Most High. All right, now we're jumping down to the 8th verse. It says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahawashi. For in him, who? Yahawashi, dwelleth all the fullness of the power head bodily. Because Yahawashi had everything, because everything was committed into his trust by the Most High. And ye are complete in him, see? Which is the head of all principality and power. So he being that head, we are complete in him if we remain in him. So now let's jump to the word complete. The word is plurao. I believe we just read that. Yeah, to make full. So it's the same word, to be complete. So let's read that verse again. And ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. Now let's jump from there back to Ephesians, the 1st chapter, and the 18th verse. It says, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints. Because this inheritance, this knowledge that we're receiving, it's an inheritance. This is a part of the kingdom. It is the kingdom. That's why Yahawashi told them, Pharisees, and them, look, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Because this knowledge is a part of that. It's a part of the establishment of the kingdom of heaven. It is the blueprint for the kingdom. That's why it's going to be put into our inward parts. And what is the exceeding greatness of his power to usward who believe, according to the working of his mighty power, which he wrought in Yahawashi when he raised him from the dead and set him at his own right hand in the heavenly places, far above all principality and power and might and dominion and every name that is named, not only in this world, but also in that which is to come. And hath put all things under his feet, and gave him to be the head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him that filleth all in all. So you see how it keeps saying that Yahawashi is the fullness. You know? Now let's go from there to the book of St. John, the 1st chapter, and the 15th verse. John bare witness of him, of Yahawashi, and cried, saying, this was he of whom I spake. He that cometh after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. And of his fullness have all we received, including John the Baptist, who is a man of the Lord, who didn't fall out the truth, who was in the truth. All right? And of his fullness have we all received, and grace for grace. So we received the fullness from Yahawashi, so we are complete in Yahawashi. Now, let's go from there to the same book of John, the 15th chapter. I'm sorry, not the 15th chapter, the 3rd chapter, and the 34th verse. It says, for he whom the Most High hath sent speaketh the words of the Most High. For the Most High giveth not the Spirit by measure unto him. So Yahawashi has the full portion. He didn't just get a piece. We the ones that got the measure, the piece, a little piece here, a little piece there. But Yahawashi got the full pie. Metron, it says measure, an instrument for measuring, a vessel for receiving and determining the quantity of things, whether dry or liquid. So each one of our vessels, because remember the Apostle Paul said that the Lord entrusted these riches in his vessel. So each one of us got a portion of these riches in our vessels. A graduated staff for measuring, a measuring rod, proverbially the rule or standard of judgment. And that's what we received, the rule or standard of judgment. Determined, extent, portion measured off, measure or limit, the required measure, the due, fit measure. So each one of us got a measure. But Yahawashi is, in Yahawashi we are complete. Because he's the one that keeps supplying. He's the warehouse, the spiritual warehouse. that keeps supplying the body with this information, this oil, this never-ending oil, this never-ending water. All right, now let's go from there to Colossians, the 3rd chapter. Colossians 3 and 11. It says, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Yahawashi is all and in all, because Yahawashi has the full portion. See? And this is what, the main point of this lesson. Philippians. I was going to go, I had a few other precepts, but I think I'm going to end it with this one here. And maybe the other part could probably be another lesson. Philippians 4 and 13. I can do all things through Yahawashi, which strengtheneth me. See, so Yahawashi has a strength. Yahawashi is the full measure. Yahawashi has the key of David. Yahawashi unlocks and locks. Yahawashi gives the oil. He gives the water. He gives us knowledge. Didn't he say that him and his father will come and sup with us? You see, so the fullness is in Yahawashi, and we are complete in Yahawashi. And like I said, I had some other precepts I was going to go to, but I think I'll end it there. And Lord's will, I can make another lesson of these other few precepts I have. But I have another lesson that I want to go into, Lord's will. And if the Spirit allows, maybe later on sometime, or I'll do something on it. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. The waterfall, the comments on the comment board, and all the scriptures that you brothers provide, shalom to the elders, Akim, the Akwath. Hope that you brothers learn something. To the next time I say shalom. Chapter, the 3rd chapter, and the 34th verse. It says, for he whom the Most High have sent speaketh the words of the Most High. For the Most High giveth not the Spirit by measure unto him. So Yahawashi has the full portion. He didn't just get a piece. We the ones that got the measure, the piece, a little piece here, a little piece there. But Yahawashi got the full pie. Metron, it says measure, an instrument.